real picture? Anyone of you have seen a real picture, real image like this? Because this is not real. You can see it is kind of a sketch. So have you seen any real image like this on social media? Any kind of media, either image or video or news channel, anything?
But his silence and streaming, they haven't. Inshallah, we'll also explore what is the story behind this as well. So for many who don't have any idea, we will explain that for you. We're going to start watching the video. Sir, could you please assist?
Yep, you can listen.
So we're going to first watch the first video we're watching is basically what the news is trying to say. Okay? We will have a discussion straight after the video, so please definitely point out.
I'm cutting my hair because many of my sister in Iran, they gonna die maybe tomorrow because of hijab, and I don't want it, and I hate it, and I don't want to follow this terrorist and dictator regime, and I'm here to support my people because they don't have voice, they don't have journalists to speak up about them.
Many of people, they are getting killed in the middle of the streets in Iran. And there is no support, there is no media coverage, they are defenseless, they are voiceless.
Wir sind hier für Peace and Freedom. Und wir haben das Vorschlag für die Zukunft, dass wir brauchen keine Kopftuch und wir haben kein Blut mehr.
Und Iran mit ihren Haaren hat gestreift und hat gesagt, ich will Frieden. Ich will frei sein und wir sind Kurden, aber trotzdem, wir wollen mit Iraniern, mit den Leuten, die in Iran wollen, Frieden haben und wir wollen zusammen. Als ich 16 Jahre alt war, ich war in dieselbe Situation. Ich habe Glück gehabt, dass mein Kopf nicht gebrochen, aber ich habe dieselbe Gewalt erlebt und das erlauben wir nicht mehr, egal wo in dieser Welt das passiert. Und wir wollen das nicht.
اسلام نکن اما خواهدیاری سکولاریزمی یعنی جدایی دین لسیاست خلقی اما بتایبت جنان لإيران بدست او حکومتی پتن سداره و دو جار چوسرا و توا یک جار بهوی کرد بونی و یک جار بهوی جن بونی و ماوی چوار روز پنج روز لهمو ایران دا خریطه قتل کریه کشتار کریه خلقی اما لبیدن گاده کجن
الموضوع مو بس موضوع العقارات والدين، الموضوع موضوع إنساني. يعني هسه كل إيران يتظاهرون، الترك والعرب والفرس كلهم يتظاهرون أمام القوات الإيرانية القمعية، يعني الحكم الإيراني يقمع كل القوميات وكل الأديان. يعني مو مسألة الحجاب والمسألة الدين، ولأنه كلنا
And I'm here for solidarity with Iranian uprising and Mahsa Amini's family. I want to tell them that I'm here with them, I'm supporting them, and this is the least things I can do. And I would love this regime change, and I'm supporting Mariam Rajavi's resistance group.
So that's the first news channel, the second one Al Jazeera. So let's look, this is also a background, so for many of you doesn't know the
According
story.
to members of her family, her mother and her brother, who have spoken to media outside of Iran, they say that Mahsa was arrested on September 13th when she was leaving a subway station in the capital, Tehran. Her brother was with her at the time. She was detained by the morality police. She was then ushered into a van and transported to a police station. And then at that police station, according to the officials here who have since released CCTV footage, she suddenly collapsed. The police say they believe she had pre-existing conditions and that was the cause of the heart attack. Her family have a different version of events. They say she had no pre-existing health issues. She was a healthy 22-year-old woman who was taken, and she never left that police station. She was transported to a hospital where she was in a coma for a few days, and then she was taken off life support and pronounced dead. Her family has laid her body to rest in her hometown on Saturday morning, and the entire country is demanding an investigation into
why are people protesting in Iran by cutting their hair and burning hijabs? Who are the morality police? And are we witnessing the beginning of another major Iranian revolution? These are some of the big questions being asked right now. Mass protests have spread across the country, and authorities have responded with violent and deadly force. The event that sparked all of this was the death of Mahsa Amini, a young Iranian woman who died while being held by Iran's morality police. On September 13th, Amini was reportedly arrested for wearing a hijab too loosely. That's considered a crime in Iran, as women are required to dress modestly and cover their hair when in public.
There are reports that Miss Amini was beaten on the head with a baton, and her head was banged against the vehicle by so-called morality police. She fell into a coma shortly after collapsing at Mozara Detention Center. Miss Amini, who also goes by the Kurdish name Gina, died 3 days later.
Authorities say Amini died of natural causes and that she had prior health conditions and suffered heart failure. But her family says that she had no health issues and that the government is simply trying to cover up what actually happened. Amini was arrested by Iran's guidance patrol.
Well, we go back onto the slide, so can we please have a discussion here as to these three different news channels? What are the main things you've seen in the videos? What did you guys see? What stunts were being pulled in the videos? The three news channels. What was their aim?
Removing the hijab.
They're burning the hijab, yes. What else did you see in the video?
They want freedom.
They want freedom, yes. What else did you see?
I feel like they want to ruin the reputation of Ayatollahs and Khamenei's in Iran.
Definitely, okay? Let's go into more depth. Not that. What is mushkil ho gaya? How do I need to see the screen?
In the screen as well. Because your voice is more
So mushkil ho gayi. I do apologize. So main points depicted from the actual news, okay? They're associating hijab with freedom of rights being taken away. Stunts of cutting hair, you saw that. There were scalps being burnt. Iran being targeted. There's political and religion factors here. Okay, they're versing each other. Some of the quotes taken from the actual video. Kurdish group are being targeted. It's not about religion or Kurdish, but human issue. So one person saying something in that video, the other person saying something completely opposite. So what is the entire agenda of global news? Okay, all Iran are protesting. Okay, someone says all ethnic and religious groups are protesting. Where exactly is all religious ethnic groups? Is Christians protesting about this incident? Half of us in this classroom right now in seminar, we don't even know what has taken place. It's not about hijab and religion. Then what is your purpose behind those news channels? There's no compulsion in Islam, which is a very big component. Inshallah, we're going to come in our Q&A. And Mahsa Amini stood for her right and freedom of choice. As a result of that, she died. Did that really happen? Was she really fighting for her cause and she died? Okay? This is how you need to evaluate a social media, guys. Don't believe every single word of it. Moving on. So these are the pictures where I have actually taken from the video you have seen. There is revolution uprise, like you said, sister. Okay? One of people's personal aim, personal ambitions are shown in the videos. Not everybody here are in sympathy or empathy with Mahsa Amini. They're all not here there like protesting for hijab. Every person has their own ambition. Revolution uprising that took place in 1988. And we're not targeting Iran here, guys, just something that we need to make it very clear. Because this is a current hot news, and particularly Iran is in it, our main here is to tackle social media. If it had happened somewhere else, for instance, Pakistan, we would have fought the same news of Pakistan. So there is no, that's something I need to make it clear. This member, this particular person, Maryam Rajabi, is being mentioned. She is an anti-inqilab. Hanum, can you please explain the concept of anti-inqilab for the young students or audience here? What does anti-inqilab mean?
So basically, if we summarize all the targets or all the slogans they have been trying to depict through this, first of all, they are all contradictory. Second, in the end, as you have seen in the video, that's the main target, to target the Imam Khomeini, Imam Khamenei, and the regime, Iranian regime. That's the main target because it's been, it came a few years back, even a few decades back, this Islamic regime, and that regime was came into being after the Inqilab. And this Inqilab is basically the target because before that regime, Shah Pahlavi's government was there, and Shah Pahlavi's government was backed by Western countries, America, and all the non-Muslim countries. So this Inqilab and this Iranian regime, the current Iranian regime, is basically against all the Western countries and the regime they had founded earlier. So that's the main aim, just to bring down the current Iranian regime, the Inqilab, so that they can bring back their regime in Iran. So that's the main purpose. That's the main aim of all these rights you have been seeing and all these protests they have been targeting, and they have a particular purpose, and that's why they have been doing all this and they have been utilizing all this. So it's all been initiated by them, it's all been plotted by them, played by them, it's characterized by them, and all this drama has been created just to make the current Iranian regime weaker.
They're basically using the concept of hijab as a pathway towards getting their aim.
And you know the slogan of freedom. So we are going to dissect this concept now with a few points, few logical points and few rational points, that are they really protesting for the freedom, or there is something else?
And just about Maryam Rajabi, she has some personal aims here as well, because from what I have researched from her life, under the Shah regime, some of her family members were massacred. And she is a political member, and as she wanted to uprise for her political leadership at that time, Imam Khomeini, the public revolution happened by the public. And as a result of that, there is that personal hatred when she wanted to come into power. Okay? So, Al Jazeera News. Some points here we need to dissect, guys, as a social media. Okay? The reporter claims brother reached outside of media, brother reached out to media outside Iran. Who are this media outside Iran? Wasn't there their media coverage in Iran that they could have gone to? That's a question you should ask. Brother was with her at the time. In the footage, did you see any brother?
No.
She was taken to a police station. Was that really a police station? Is that how a police station looks like? Okay. The issue here is that official needs to be held responsible. The issue here isn't about hijab, the main focus of Al Jazeera News. So are you guys trying to understand what we're trying to get you? The different views and ambition of each channel news? Okay? So, and behind the news. When something goes to the United Nations, that is very big, guys. It must be very important, okay? The reporter in the UN official speaks and she says, family members saying she did not have past sickness, and report shows she was beaten with a baton on her head and banged against the vehicle by the so-called morality police. In the entire footage, we can give you access to these links as well so you can watch it at your own time, the complete footage. Where is the proof or a statement given by the family directly? There's nothing shown. They do quote and say, family said this, but where's the proof? Where's the actual statement? Secondly, where is the footage where she was beaten with a baton on the head? Okay. The only thing, while he is saying, the only thing it shows on that is another media coverage proof. Is that good enough for you to accept this? So now let's find the facts for yourself. We're going to watch the actual CCTV footage without being cut. We're going to watch the previous sickness reports. We're going to watch protests that happened in Iran and no media coverage there was. And they did a protest in favor of hijab. Where is that? And we're going to watch definitely Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei's speech to the public after the incident. Okay, so it's important to get both sides. So.
Classroom. That's a classroom for the moral police. So she has not been taken, to the real police station. This is just a classroom, and she was there, and she had been there, and you can see in CCTV footage what really happened.
There's no physical abuse or violence shown at all.
They say that she had been hit on her head, and you have seen that she just fell down and nothing happened before that. Are more in number than the protesters, and nothing has been shown on the mainstream media. You wouldn't have seen this kind of footage earlier in the mainstream media. Even it's not available on the social media. We have taken this footage from Iranian media, Persian media, and there you can see it. So basically they are just depicting one side of the story, the plot they have played, and the plot they have prepared for us. So this is the real Iran, you can see, and the Iranian women, and they are in protesting, or they are coming out of their home in support of hijab. And so many incidents have happened because of all these protests. The hatred they build up through mainstream media and social media. So incidents like this happen, and they burn the pictures of Imam Khomeini, burn pictures of Imam Khamenei, and the flag of Iran. And this is not major, but the major thing, they burn Quran. And these are the Muslims, so-called Muslims of Iran, so-called people of Iran, and they are burning Quran. And it's not only one incident, a lot many incidents happen because of this. So that's the main target, that they are targeting Islam, they are targeting Quran, they are targeting the message of Allah. So this is not only related to freedom, something big is happening.
این حادثه ای که پیش آمد، دختر جوانی در گذشت، خب حادثه تلخی بود، دل ما هم سوخت. بنده به صراحت میگم این برنامه ریزی کار آمریکا، کار رژیم غاصب و جعلی صهیونیستی و دنبال روای اونها نشستن برنامه ریزی کردن عمله و مزدوران و حقوق بگیران اونها، بعضی از ایرانی‌های خائن هم که در بیرون از کشور هستن به اینها کمک کردن. دعوا بر سر مسئله با حجاب و بد حجاب نیست. دعوا بر سر از دنیا رفتن یه دختر جوان نیست. دعوا اینا نیست. خیلی از این کسانی که حجاب کاملی هم ندارن جزو هواداران جدی نظام جمهوری اسلامی هستند. شما می‌بینید در مراسم مذهبی، در مراسم انقلابی اینا شرکت می‌کنند. بحث سر اینا نیست. بحث سر اصل استقلال و ایستادگی و تقویت و اقتدار ایران.
So we covered the main groups related to Mahsa Amini. So, if you can please go to the slides. So, just for the audiences that came, Assalamu alaikum. What we had started our segment first was covering the concept of the current hot news on social media about Mahsa Amini. There's another incident. So we watched 3 different news channels. Then we came to proofs and evidences. We just reached it there. So the next slide. Another breaking news, the incident that happened, and this has not been covered on social media, which was the attack in Shiraz in one of the mosques. Which social media is covering this? The Halloween massacre that happened in Asia, that's been covered all over the news globally. What about this incident? Okay, so we're going to watch a very quick. One of the reasons we're watching this type of news is because you guys need to be aware of what the reality is. Okay, so please play the video. If little students do get, because there is graphics, if you do get disturbed, please let us know. You can go outside for a moment. Stop it.
و اقتدار ایران.
Okay, so this incident you must have known from not mainstream media, but maybe from WhatsApp groups, even not social media, the Facebook, the Instagram, they are not covering this major incident. And this is far bigger incident than the freedom of choice they are raising on a street. So this is, a lot many people, innocent people have been massacred, and nobody is talking about that.
This just happened under a week ago. This is inside one of the harams in Iran. There is no voice here, so I'll just speak. He tried to get through the first door, and they quickly shut the door. And then he takes an alternative route to another door. So any person, whether children, ladies, male, whoever comes in front of him, he just basically takes a name. Yes. Whoever we're hiding behind the cooler, so he comes. And eventually the police officers do come and he starts taking aim at the police officers, and then at the end he does get captured. So that's something. Where's the media coverage of this rise? Under a week ago it happened. Which mainstream social media has been covering this? Halloween, the news, every second channel is showing it. On all social media it's been showing the massacre that happened. What about this? Isn't this significant? What about the deaths that happen in Afghanistan? Almost every second Friday or once a month, Fridays is particularly a day that Afghanistan students, individuals, families get targeted. Which news is covering that? That incident got upheated so significantly. Do you guys understand now what the aim of social media is? So be very careful, because you utilize social media on a daily basis. Alhamdulillah, so that's the first segment, tackling social media, their purpose, their aims. Coming to controversial Q&A. We have depicted some very important questions, and inshallah it will go into tomorrow's segment as well, because we've quite taken some time. So some of the main questions that are being asked, and Khanum of the Zahra is going to address this. The first one is, when there is no compulsion in Islam, then we should not be forced to wear hijab. Is this true? Is this correct at all, Khanum?
Because there is no compulsion in Islam. This is from an ayah of Quran, La ilaha fi deen. Like in deen, there is no compulsion, there is no pressure or forcefully. No one is supposed to be doing anything. They should be doing with the free will. So basically, this ayah is related to the entering of Islam, accepting Islam. So when you're accepting Islam with your own free will. Nobody is supposed to, push you or force you or make it compulsory for you. But once you have entered the Islam, now you have to abide the boundaries within the Islam. Now you have to abide the rules and regulations given by Allah. Because now you are supposed to be obedient to Allah. Now you are supposed to be obedient and be submissive in front of Allah. So these boundaries have been given by Allah, it's not been man-made. So when you have accepted Islam with your own free will, then you're supposed to follow this. And one thing we need to clarify here, that nothing has been forced, even in this incident that had been, all over on mainstream media or the social media. Basically, whatever they are doing in Iran, it's a basic dress code, not even Islamic hijab. When you go on the street, when you go to Tehran, there are, more modern women you can find over there, even you can't find here in our communities. So basically, that's the only dress code they are following. Do you have a dress code here? A minimum dress code? If somebody is totally naked or nude and he or she comes out of the home, what would happen? Something would happen? Yes? Yes, she or he would get arrested. Why? Now where is the freedom of choice? Why he or she would get arrested? Because that's the minimum dress code they are putting there. And there is a minimum dress code they are putting in Iran. So basically just the length of the cloth is different. They are just keeping it short. And in all countries, all over the world, there is a minimum dress code they have to follow. It's not about freedom of choice, it's about the rules and the laws of the land. So they have a land, so they have the freedom to put some rules and regulations according to their community or according to their people and the public. So that's only the length of the cloth. If we see that picture, if you can go copy the verse. It's okay.
We'll come to that.
It's okay.
Hanum, just while we get to that part, some students have approached me and said that there's a lot of times families pressurize me. My mom tells me I need to fix my stuff in a certain way. Husband tells wife, you need to do certain hijab, apply it to your life. So this is an image. Okay, we need to take this into reality that unfortunately this does happen within our family, cultural environment. How can you just explain about this part?
Yeah, so whatever is being done by an individual or a family member, it's his or her own action or deed. It's nothing related to Islam. So in Islam there is no compulsion or pressure. It's with your own free will you are supposed to follow it. If your parents have been asking you to perform prayer or wearing hijab, it's only for your own good. At certain age, they are supposed to set you free. Before that, they are trying to train you in certain way, which is good for you. Maybe you won't be able to understand at this time, but in later age you would understand it's for your own betterment. Similarly, as Allah has put all these boundaries, even prayer, namaz, or salat, what we perform, that's not for the sake of Allah. That's for the sake of, niyat is for the sake of Allah, but it's all for our own betterment. Similarly, this hijab is only for the betterment of us. Nothing we can benefit with this to Allah. So that's why Allah has put all these boundaries. So if somebody is doing it harshly, it could be a wrong parental choice. It has to do only with that parent, that particular parent or families, but it has nothing to do with Islam. Islam always say that you should ask them politely to come towards all the actions and deeds which have been given by Allah. So we as parents should be very logical and should be very polite and should be very motivational while bringing them towards the actions and the deeds. So don't be harsh, because if you would be harsh, they would be doing for a certain period of time, and when they would set free, they would take it off. So by logic, there is no point of compulsion or pressure. It shouldn't be that. If it's there, it's because of the cultural or the parental choices they make. It has nothing to do with Islam.
Thank you. And some parents did come to me personally and request if we can set some strategies to help them implement this. We frequently do two steps. Alhamdulillah, many of the children are very easygoing, and as soon as a parent you tell them something, they pick up quickly. But sometimes we have another child who it takes a lot of effort. So give it a try yourself, parents. And this includes siblings. If you're elder sibling, give it a try. Demonstrate yourself. Encourage them with a smile. Do not pressure, do not bring the hatred. The point where you think you can't do this, that's the point that you need to go reach out to an external resource. Go to another person in the family who has that bonding with the child. You can reach out, and alhamdulillah, you guys attended the seminar. This is one of the steps where you bring your children and they learn through an external resource. There is KAZSCHOOL YouTube channel. There is Islamic lessons made easy. There's a really nice graphic videos in the easiest way your children can learn. Utilize and take opportunity of this.
And the main thing is when you understand the purpose of hijab or the purpose of prayers or the purpose of any obligation made by Allah in the way of Islam, when you understand that purpose, you would do it with your own free will. So you need to understand it first and then bring that understanding towards your child rather than pressurizing them without any knowledge. So we need to build up our own knowledge and then you are supposed to give it or transfer it to your children. I don't know, am I allowed to share the purpose of hijab or am I supposed to do it later?
We're coming to that early. Just as you started your talk about the different, okay, I'll read the statement. On one hand, we need to do Islamic hijab. On the other hand, we need to follow the social norm of that region. For example, we live in Australia, we need to have the certain dress code here. And how does Islam and his requirement meet together? So is this contradictory based on what you had started on?
So basically, first of all, what I said that this is a picture from BBC. It's not from our own picture. It's the mainstream media BBC. They are depicting, the university students in Tehran. So that's how they usually dress up. That's the normal dress code they follow. And it has nothing to do with Islamic hijab. It's not Islamic hijab. You can see they are hardly covering even their heads. So it's only a dress code, the minimum dress code they have put there because of their people, their public, their culture. It's a need because if they don't put it there, they would be wearing skirts because there are a lot of people who are in the favor of Shah, and that's why they are protesting because they are paid on a payroll and they come out of their homes whenever something like this they need. But normally they dress up like that. Is it Islamic hijab? No, so there is no compulsion even in Iran to do Islamic hijab. It's just normal dress code. As I have said, there is a minimum dress code here as well in all the Western countries. So similar is that. So when we say that there are two things that we say there is Islamic hijab, and then we say there are certain dress codes in different countries. Like you have Western clothing when you are in Western countries, there is Eastern clothing, there are Arabic clothing. So what should we wear? So you need to make a blend with the culture which are within the boundaries of Islam. So Islam gives a broad boundary and you are free to do whatever you want to do in that boundary. And that's why Islam is very much in favor of all cultures. Islam is not against any culture. Islam is not against any particular kind of dress code. You just need to pick up those kind of clothing and just blend it with the requirements of Islam and you are ready to perform your hijab. So it's nothing to do with culture. Whatever is cultural, it can be blended with Islam or it can be against Islam. So Islam is not cultural thing, Islam is separate, but whatever comes into the boundaries of Islam, it is accepted.
I found this online. Different types of Islamic veil. Some most common ones are being explained to you girls, particularly. We're focusing especially on two concepts, hijab and khimar. Okay, and how is the word hijab being used correctly at all in today's term? And what is being used in the Quran? hijab that is being used? Is it jilbab or himar? What is the real meaning, please?
Okay, all these three words have been used in Quran. In particular ayats and the particular verses of Quran where there is the commandment related to hijab, two words have been used, jilbab and himar. Himar is basically the head covering, and Allah asked us to cover our body with that head covering, all the women. So that is from there. Jilbab is also in the same category. So head covering is a must according to Quran. Some people try to say that, it's not, it's just himar, it's shawl. If you don't cover your head, it's fine. No, it's not fine. First of all, this himar word is basically has to do with head, because the root word is hamar, ha mim ra. This has to do with head, because you see the alcohol, when you drink that, you also call that himar. So because it has to do with your head. Your head gets pounding, you get affected by it, your head gets affected by it, that's why we call it that. And similarly, there is one kind of horse that is of white from the head till neck and brown in the other. So the root word is also the same for that, because the head is covered. So himar is particular word in Arabic that has been used for covering the head, and Allah gives the commandment in the ayat which we are going to cover, and to put it on your bodies.
Another part, we're going to come to the Quranic references, everyone. Just while we're doing that, there's two questions we need to cover it up. The concept that hijab concerns females only. That can also be explained in the coming ayats. Okay, and you guys can take references, you guys can take photos of the coming two slides.
So these are the Quranic references that hijab is not only for women, it's also for men. Allah commanded men first, then women about hijab, to lower down their gaze, to protect their gaze, to protect their sanctity, to protect their modesty. So these are all common rulings for women as well as for men. So Allah commanded men first and then women, and women have to wear this because they have to cover their beauty. So there is a dress code even for men. It is not that they are allowed to wear anything, no. If it's been, hurdled in the way of their modesty or against the rulings of modesty, then they are not supposed to wear it. So it's situation by situation and person to person, and we all are supposed to follow it.
Just very quickly, we're almost at the end, and inshallah we're going to go for a quick break, guys. A very important thing that, if you noticed, I don't know if that screen is on, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing Rasulullah here directly. He could have directly sit and made this reference to Bibi Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha or any other Bibis. But he's coming to Rasulullah. There's a sense of responsibility in the male members here. Allah is saying, all prophets, say to your wives and your daughters to do hijab. Okay, this is very significant. I know there are brothers here who have younger sisters. Reach out to them and encourage them. You have a sense of responsibility here.
But encourage in a polite manner, because that's the main aim and purpose of Islam, to bring people towards Islam in the most polite manner. So don't be harsh, don't be judgmental, be very polite, be empathetic, and then ask them to come towards Islamic rulings.
And just with the second Surah Nur, also refers to the word humor, and also why your mahrams. This is a very important concept that in tomorrow's segment, when we come explain the main concept of modesty, haya versus self-confidence, in brackets, freedom of right, choice. We're going to explain that tomorrow. So this is a good introduction for you guys to please go and read this surah as well, to know who are your mahrams. Just in everything that we have covered today, the easiest way for you guys is that we create a roadmap for you. Okay? A lot of us, especially when we are in our teenage years, we are stuck in the middle. When our parents tell us to do hijab, okay, we are stuck here. Let's break it down. There is an individual concept here that you need to identify first, which leads to your self-identity and your self-confidence that drives you to doing hijab without being told by anyone. And then there is the concept of society, of pressures from social media, your peers at school. So this is the best way to break it down. Inshallah, we are working on this. We are creating a course depicting this main concept to make it easier, a roadmap for boys and girls in reaching to a successful identity. Okay?
So that tomorrow we would cover the main question, the purpose of hijab. Why we are supposed to wear all this, why we are supposed to do this, and when we are saying that it is aligned with freedom of choice, then how is it? All these questions we are going to cover tomorrow.
Is there any questions, any feedback for us before we go to break? Anything you've learned, you agree or disagree?
It's just, I don't know if it's right, but it's just my own thing. I think it's too much for a day, you know. The first part was enough for the whole day. We could discuss, but it's too much, I think, for a day.
We've given only 2 days of about 45 minutes basically, and the hijab is such a vast concept.
Yeah.
So we've tried, and social media, inshallah tomorrow's one, we will try to shorten it as much as possible. We do apologize because we did have a very late start today as well.
It's just my point of view, so I'm not saying I'm right.
No,
Yeah.
Jazakallah, because that's important feedback for us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other feedback?